The call for the establishment of state police seems to have intensified in Nigeria. Apex Yoruba socio-political organization, Afenifere, has urged President Bola Tinubu to invoke an executive order for the establishment of state and local government police, while the process of amending the 1999 Nigerian Constitution continues. Afenifere lamented insecurity in the country and is asking President Bola Tinubu to invoke an executive order to create state and local government police immediately. The group, while urging President Tinubu to be more decisive in tackling the worsening insecurity, also called for the erection of closed-circuit television sets and deployment of drones and modern technology for security purposes in strategic locations to end insecurity. Afenifere noted that there were indications that Tinubu was desirous of putting an end to this menace. Joining us now on the show is Senator Sumaila Kawu, the member representing the Kano South Senatorial District at the 10th National Assembly under the new Nigeria People's Party. Senator Kawu, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, my dear friend and brother.
Well, in 2014, the National Political Conference recommended state police, and the subject has been on the table ever since then. On February 15 this year, the federal government, the Tinubu administration, set up a committee to look into the matter of state police. Now, the Governors Forum has endorsed the idea of state police. The Speakers' Conference of the various states, 36 states of the Federation, they've also endorsed it. The only person who seems to disagree with this is the Inspector General of Police, who says that state police is going to be abused. The latest development now is Afenifere asking the president to put across an executive order and create a state police pending the time that the bill before the National Assembly goes through. However, can the president of Nigeria use an executive order to create state police in the light of Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution, which is very clear about how you amend the Constitution? Over to you, Senator Kawu.
Well, I am not in agreement with Afenifere's position with the president to invoke executive order on this very sensitive and serious constitutional matter. But I supported their position that we need to do everything possible to arrest the security situation in Nigeria. The state police is a constitutional issue. Therefore, I think it's better for us to sit down under one roof to agree among ourselves to amend the constitution if we need to have the state police. The process is very clear. If state governors with a state assembly and of course National Assembly and the executive under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we can do it within 1 or 2 weeks. They can sponsor an executive bill to the National Assembly, gazetting it, first reading, second reading, public hearing. Then we commit it to our various committees, either Constitutional Amendment Committee or Police Committees, then to do the needful, bring back the report, consider the report, approve it, then send the resolution to the State Assembly and State Assembly to concur it. And we are doing it since we are practicing bicameral legislation, the House and the Senate. We can do it concurrently without to agree with all the clauses, both the Senate and the House. Therefore, even if we come into harmonization or conferences, it will not take us back. Definitely, I understand and I believe we can do it within 2 weeks without wasting time. But the main important issue is dialogue, engagement, sensitization, public awareness. All the stakeholders, are they ready to adopt state police? One. Secondly, if, for example, Inspector General of Police who happen to be one of the serious critical stakeholders in this business. If he can come out with his observation, we need to sit down and look into that area, because there are so many people who are vehemently against state police. Therefore, we need to take all pros and cons on this issue and agree before embarking into this serious and sensitive constitutional matter. But I am in support of everything that will return normalcy, that will bring security in Nigeria.
All right, I hear you. But in terms of that executive order, I'm not sure if you're able to, I know you've spoken about the process to doing it and how it's important to get all stakeholders on board. But in the immediate, what the Pan-African Yoruba group are asking for is that the president should use at least his powers and one of the tools available to him to make it immediate whilst the process is going on. Is this an approach that you would recommend or support? Because I do hear you, and it's important to bring into consideration all the reservations that have been expressed by the major stakeholders. But also in the interim, should the president go ahead to exercise his, use the executive order to put that in place whilst consultation is going on?
No, I am not in support of executive order. Let me repeat it again. If you can remember last time, President Buhari invoke an executive order on local government. See how the state governors and some stakeholders are plotting the order. I think it will not work. It is constitutional, it is law. We all agree that Mr. President has the constitutional power to invoke executive order. But let us do a constitutional amendment, a proper constitutional process which will support the legislation, which everybody must respect. You see, it must involve each and everybody in Nigeria to agree on what we are doing. And in the process of amending the constitution, there is provision where the representative of the people will discuss the pros and cons of the legislation. One. Secondly, it will allow for a public hearing where we can organize it in a way where each and every federal constituency and senatorial district will converge in a place to discuss the pros and cons and to hear from their constituent their own position. Definitely we can do it within 2 weeks, but the most important is how can we convince Nigeria, how can we convince the other boys, IGP, Inspector General of Police, and some part of the country are not in support of state police. What is their, what are they running for? Like political interference, where some state governors will start using it to gain their political advantage, using it for tribalism, ethnicity, religious sentiment, funding capacity, and so many problems surrounding it. But actually it has so many advantages, and we will derive so many things from it. But let us sit down critically and do it once for all. From the time where Afenifere met Mr. President, from the time where Mr. President constituted the committee to look over into state police, from that time to today, if we are serious and if we are determined to have the state police, we can have it within a short period of time. It is almost 1 month now. What I am saying is that we can do it in 2 weeks. In 2013, under President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, when he appointed Jega to head the, in 2010, to head INEC, we met with Mr. President, leadership of the National Assembly, and of course INEC and relevant stakeholder, and we all agree that we are going to amend some section of the Constitution which election-related clauses of the Constitution, and we do it within short period of time. And Nigeria from that 2010 start having a comprehensive effective and efficient electoral laws which lead us to where we are today. If we are serious, we can do it. We can suspend everything to confront the security challenges in Nigeria. But I am not in support, I am repeating it, I am not in support of Mr. President to invoke an executive order. It will not work and it will bring a confusion. And I assure you that some people will go against it because of the nature of Nigeria.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you real quickly, what's your take on this? Because the fear has always been the governors, how they will not hijack it. And since it's still going to be domiciled in their states, there's no way we can prevent them from hijacking it. What's your fear and how can we navigate this fear?
God created brain for us to think and think. We must find a lasting solution of the impunity in the state. We must talk to them. They are human beings too. Yes, I agree with all those who are against our state police, citing the example of State Electoral Commission and the position of the local governments, the way governors are tampering with law just to shortchange the citizens. I quite agree that we need to talk to ourselves and we must think critically out of box to find a position where we will block them from abusing and misusing the state police. I read an article by former Inspector General of Police Hendro. He came up with so many observations, advice, which will make the state police to be effective. But actually, our main problem is state governance. And let me tell you, it is not only state police now. Even if we amend the constitution and have an effective and efficient state police or laws which will enable us to have a state police, still we need to have, or we must amend some part of the constitution to have a true federal system that will work. A federal system that will cover everybody to operate within his locality or within his unit in accordance with their culture and tradition, in accordance with their belief. We need a federal system. We need to sit down and discuss. You cannot have an effective and efficient state police without having effective and efficient local government system. Even in UK, even in US, even in developed democracy, they are developing their third tier or local or community government to implement a security situation of a country. Now see what is going on. The local government is incapable to attend the need of our locality. That is what compound the security situation in Nigeria. We need to look into so many aspects of our system, and funding is one of the critical and most important in funding Nigerian police or state police. For example, now, for those who are not in support of state police, I can say that most of the logistics are coming from the state governors. Vehicle, accommodation, day-to-day running or supporting the operational system of Nigerian police. What Nigerian police or federal government is doing, mainly it is salary. Even see how the police are battling with their pension system and gratuity. There was no government are not alive with their responsibility of boosting the moral of the Nigerian police to fight crime in Nigeria. That is the reason where we are here today. Intelligence gathering. It is very important for us to create an avenue where police can gather intelligence. We will have it if we have effective local government system where they will work hand in hand with traditional leaders, religious leaders, community leaders.
Senator Kawu, I get you. I mean, the Nigerian police is a creation of the Constitution, Section 214. And no part of that Constitution can be amended except by processes spelled out in the Constitution. And the process of amending the Constitution is in
Yes.
Section 9 of the same Constitution. You have 2/3 of the National Assembly, both houses, then 2/3 of the states concurring item by item, so that amending the Constitution will be an expression of the will of the people. So I agree with you that you cannot just have an executive order by one individual. Secondly, I agree with you on the issue of federalism. But I would like you to address the original question. Do you think that we actually need state police, and why? And two, do you think that the state governments, hold on. Do you think that the state governments have the capacity to manage state police? The same state governments that cannot pay staff salaries. The same state governments where you say, are guilty of a lot of impunity. I want you to make a case for state police if you agree that state police is useful at this point.
Well, quite all right. No matter how good it is, our people are skeptical. Our people are not pleased with state police because of so many issues. We have some states in northern Nigeria where somebody who was born in the state, his father, his grandfather was born in that state, but they will not allow to have an indigenous certificate of his particular local government. We have places in northern Nigeria where there is 80% control of one tribe, but in any way they cannot have the power to appoint a local government caretaker committee in that particular local government. You see, there is serious sentiment in northern Nigeria, which most of our people are not in any way in support of Nigerian police. We as a representative of the people, personally, me as Suleiman Abrahaman Kawu Sumaila, I'm in support of it, but we must look what our governors are doing with the local government, with the state INEC, and personalizing the government process, thinking that it is their personal belonging, the way they are doing what they are doing. Of course, there is a problem of funding. Most of the state governors are struggling to pay salaries. Most of the state governors are not happy with how much they are collecting from the center to run the affairs of their state. But we need to ask ourselves the wastages. We must fight corruption. We must block linkages. It is from there where we are wasting our resources. We must start thinking people before embarking on any project or program which will not benefit people. See the state of our primary and secondary education in northern Nigeria or in Nigeria. See the state of our primary healthcare and secondary healthcare. Therefore, there is need for us as a people to sit down and think and rethink on the current situation before embarking into this serious constitutional issue.
Senator.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you then agree? Yes, sir. Do you then agree with the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, that Nigeria is not yet mature for state police?
Yes, I quite agree with him, but we are human beings. We can sit down and see what area and what area is the problem. To attend the problem, we are all human beings. We must think out of box. Most of the problem is abuses and political interference in the recruitment, appointment, promotion, or even the operational guidelines of the state police. One, which I think he has say on it. Then, from the time where you allowed the state to start dealing with the arms and ammunition, definitely from what I saw or from what is going on, if a state governor can go and demolish a state assembly, if a state governor can give an order to go and demolish people's houses without following due process, if a state governor can order the arrest of opposition, if a state governor can deny a opposition party to hold political rallies in stadium or government property, definitely there is a serious problem. And the capacity, which is very important. For example, in our own case, in the National Assembly, we have the power and we are utilizing our power to invite the Inspector General of Police, ask him question, or we can agree and disagree with Mr. President on so many issues, but the capacity of our state assemblies, the way they are doing oversight, it is very poor. I cannot, or I think the state assembly cannot in any way manage the oversight constitutional responsibility to deal with governor. Anything governor in the state assembly or in the state, it is a carry and go. We have our problem in National Assembly, but the capacity means a lot. The capacity of our judges in the state, the interference, the way state governors using judges to detain or to have a detain order, or it is very, very pathetic. Therefore, IGP, as the chief security officer of the land, must think, and I salute his courage. When I saw his position, definitely he earned my respect, because it is Mr. President who appointed him. He is an employee of Mr. President. Mr. President can remove him, and he knew the interest of Mr. President, but he go against it because of his conviction, what he believed, and what he used to attend day in, day out. Definitely, if we need it, we need to sit down and discuss it. We need to engage, we need to do dialogue, we need to do public awareness, we need to understand ourselves, we need to respect the characteristic of good governance, of transparency, openness, and respect of human rights. It all involved on the process. That is the reason why I totally disagree with you or with those who are calling for executive order. Definitely, if Mr. President for any reason invoke an executive order on this state police without the consent of the representative of the people in the state and federal level, definitely there will be crisis and there will be chaos. I assure you, our people, more especially from northern Nigeria, are very skeptical on state police. And when you are listening to the agitation, you must agree with them that there are some areas which we need to sit down and agree before embarking into this serious and constitutional sensitive journey.
Yes, we hear you loud and clear. It's truly a sensitive journey. But in the interim, whilst you're mulling, putting things in place, as you've highlighted a number of times, is the fact that we still have a dire security situation on our hands. And that's perhaps why there's this call. In fact, in the report that they released, or in the statement that they released, they talked about the incessant crime rate on the Southwest Road, and people have talked about other areas. You can look at what happened at Motekun, and how they had to, the governor of Ondo State at the time had to just take action because his people were being kidnapped, were dying, were being killed on their farms. And so action had to be taken. There are some low-hanging fruits that were mentioned. So whilst we are putting things in place, looking at the constitutional amendment to accommodate the provisions of state police, what are some of those things that would be done or can or should be done in the immediate to address insecurity challenges, including in the north that you've talked about, that they're skeptical about state police, southwest, south, all around the country? What are some of the things that ought to be done and that the National Assembly is pushing to ensure that we're able to strengthen the security architecture in Nigeria?
Let me tell you, I am Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Therefore, I am looking Nigeria as my constituency, and I am respecting each and every opinion. When we are making law, that is the reason why we are allowed in a situation where we will interact and do a public hearing. I am in the opinion, I am in support of it, but what are the gray areas which we need to attend? Even in northern Nigeria, there are so many vigilant groups in northern Nigeria, but see how they are abusing it. See what is going in Katsina. See what is going in Zamfara, where the group or the vigilant go and kill innocent people because of a civil disagreement. What I am saying is that it is constitutional process. We need to carry everybody along. I am not saying that because of Northern Nigeria are not in support of state police, we cannot do it. Yes, we can do it, but we need to sit down and agree on some areas where everybody will be comfortable. You see, when you are doing a law, you must respect the opinion of each and every Nigeria. Because if it is law, if it is constitution, it comes to stay. That is the reason where I am insisting that let us go back to the constitution. We can do it within 2 weeks if we are serious. Take, for instance, the time where Mr. President constituted his committee. From that time to today, it is very clear. He can communicate to the National Assembly today. We can suspend some of our rules and start taking it. We can finish within a week. Send it back to the State Assembly. Even before sending it, we can do a public hearing. And we can do it in such a way where it will bring everybody along. We have 109 federal constituencies. Let each and every senator, together with his State Assembly members, for example, I have 16 local government. I have 7 members of the House of Representatives, 16 State Assembly members with traditional rulers, religious leaders, and some political and opinion leaders. We can hold a public hearing or an interactive session on one day, like on Saturday, across the country to have a position on this issue. If we all have a position, we can aggregate the opinion of the people, and the same week we will pass this legislation. If it will bring an end to what is going on. We are fed up, we are not happy, and we are the most victim on the current security situation in Nigeria. Therefore, I am in support of everything that will bring a lasting solution of our problem. But I want it to be to take a human face. I want it to be constitutionally to have a solid foundation where nobody will come and tamper or nobody will use it against anybody. We used to listen so many agitation. I was summoned by a group of the people from the plateau talking to me on this state police. Bauchi people, so many people, because of what is going on now. See what the state governors are doing in the recruitment of the civil service or in the promotion or discipline in their own states. See how we abuse the local government system. A governor who managed to win his election or to win his election with a slight margin, within 6 or 1 year, he will conduct a local government where all the councillors, all the chairmen will go to his own party. It is very dangerous. Therefore, I am pleading with Nigeria, I am pleading with the executive, and we are very happy. The principal officers of Mr. President, starting from his SGF, is a former senator, former governor, a Democrat par excellence, his chief of staff, our friend. We are with him for over 20-something years as a member of the House of Representatives to the highest position in the House of Representatives as Speaker. Go to his vice, even the chief of staff of the vice president too. Senator. They are all politicians. And the Attorney General is one of the respected legal lawmen, which we can sit down and do a deal on good law in the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Well, Senator Sumaila Kawu, I would like to thank you very much for joining us on The Morning Show.